What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out how good Nidoqueen and Walrein are with the new season. As with the latest update, they got an increase in power with the damage of their moves, that being Poison Fang and Icicle Spear. We're also going to be pairing it with Scrafty, as Nidoqueen and Scrafty is a really nice core to have in the Great League. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this team, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Nidoqueen on the lead versus Venusaur. So a Pokemon I really haven't seen too often, but it's nice to see it come back in the Great League. Thankfully, the Nidoqueen has a decent matchup right here with that Poison Jab, Poison Fang combination, and I do want to build up to that Earth Power to really threaten the potential one-shot, as it does do neutral damage. So I'm going to go ahead and shield the Frenzy Plant and now look to go for the Poison Fang after building up to Earth Power. We'll have to see how they decide to adjust, as both situations is good for me, but they decided to no shield, and we see an instant swap out into the Pancake, that being Stunfisk here, which is a good opportunity now for Nidoqueen to go for that Earth Power, as it does do super effective damage. And it does land, which is beautiful, so I'm going to go ahead and swap into Walrein now. And this is actually going to be an interesting situation, as Discharge does super effective damage. But it's actually, I thought it was going to do a bit less damage, but it actually did enough to where it's actually going to two-shot us right here. So we're going to go ahead and let this go. I don't want to be giving up my final shield, because I think Nidoqueen has the potential to fully farm down, which will be very advantageous for Venusaur matchup and whatever's in the back, as they do have a Venusaur lead and an anti-flyer there. I imagine it's going to be something like a Registeel, a Galarian Stunfisk, or a Bastiodon in the back, which is what I am reading right now. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Poison Fang. They do decide to shield. This is definitely a big call that they are weak in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and shield myself and then look to commit to this full farm down and have plenty of energy for whatever's in the back. And sure enough, it is going to be Bastiodon. So we're going to go ahead and go for that Earth Power, guaranteed to get the shield or do an incredible amount of damage. Either way, Scrafty then will be able to clean up for us with counter and power up punch, and they decide to surrender. So that is going to be a good battle. Moving to the next one, we got Nidoqueen versus Shadow Swampert. Obviously a very tough matchup for us, so we're going to go ahead and go into that Walrein safe swap right here. And we do draw out a Talonflame. This is actually a pretty unique situation. Bad timing right there by me. But it's a unique situation where we can still do really nice neutral damage and keep Scrafty away from this Fire Flyer, which is going to work out for us. We're going to go ahead and shield the Flame Charge right here. I was thinking might have been Brave Bird, trying to go for that early damage to get it out of the way, but now I'm in a good situation where I can easily go for Icicle Spears and just do a lot of neutral damage. If they decide to go for another Flame Charge here, I don't think I'll be able to survive, but we'll have to see. And they actually decided to go for the Brave Bird right there. Boom, down I go. That's okay, Nidoqueen can now come in and fully farm down. Switch Clock is back up, which means I can go right into Scrafty for the Swampert swap in right here. And we'll have to see if they decide to stay in. Hydro Cannon does so much damage. This is what's dangerous. It's going to force me to shield early, as now they're looking to stay in. So I'm going to try to go for Power Up Punch, but I went a turn too late, which means they are now going to be able to land this Hydro Cannon. But it was a CMP tie, so we'll be able to get this chip damage down and potentially a shield, since I do have enough energy for Foul Play here. But they decide to no shield it, and now we might just be able to counter down. I decide to pull the trigger early. I thought they were going to get the Hydro Cannon right there. So we go for the Power Up Punch just to get it out of the way, and let's see what's going to be in the back. It's going to be a Shadow Walrein, and look at what Scrafty is doing. This, man, I always forget about this Pokemon, how strong it actually is, but below 50% HP right there. Now this is, again, Shadow Walrein with the increase in damage to Icicle Spear, but Nidoqueen does not care, able to hang on and get this Earth Power off to close the game. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. Thankfully, Scrafty right there was just able to do so much damage with the ramped up counters that we were able to take that one. Good game. All right, we got Lantern here on the lead, so we'll have to see how my opponent decides to play this, but this is a unique situation for us where we can potentially one-shot if they decide not to shield. The Surf, we're going to go ahead and let it go through. It's not going to KO, but this Earth Power does so much damage. Now, this actually doesn't one-shot depending on the IVs, but ultimately it's going to do a good amount of damage, where now I'm going to go ahead and swap out into Walrein to catch the next Surf, because the Lantern was going to get to it in time, and I didn't want to shield on my Nidoqueen. Now, they bring in their own Shadow Nidoqueen right here, which in this matchup we can do that super effective damage like you guys saw before. because of the Icicle Spear. It's so spammy, got an increase in damage, but the Nidoqueen as well can really put on a hurt with Poison Fang and Poison Jab. So we're going to go ahead and no-shield it, and it's a Stone Edge! Oh, boom! Did not see that coming! Good job, Shadow Nidoqueen. Now we have to come into the mirror, and this is such a scary position to be in, because now, oh man, I have to shield Poison Fangs. I'm going to go ahead and shield. It is going to be the Poison Fang. I didn't think it would be a Stone Edge, but I'm forced to shield because any chip damage, I might not be able to survive long enough in order to get off multiple charge moves. Now we get a shield right there with the Earth Power, and they go for the full farm down, but thankfully I am able to get to a Poison Fang in time, which is going to desperately help out the Scrafty try to close this game. Now they're obviously not going for Stone Edge because it would be resisted, so they're going to go for that Poison Fang debuff. And now I should be able to counter down thanks to the debuff that we applied to them. Final Pokemon is a Registeel. Of everything that we could face off against, maybe besides a Bastion, Registeel is the best chance for us to win because it does no damage with its fast move. It's all about the charge moves, and Scrafty is all about counter and power-up punch with the foul play coverage. So this is going to be a good game. We can safely shield this next charge move and then just counter down the rest of this game, as there is nothing my opponent can do. Scrafty is going to take it, and they decide to surrender. Good game right there. All right, moving into the next one. We have, let's see here, we got Nidoqueen versus Trevenant on the lead. All right, so our whole team does well, and they're going to decide to swap out into Shadow Drapion, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Scrafty. Now, this is a situation where we'll have to see what charge move they have. I'm going to let the first one go through, and it is going to be Aqua Tail. So they look to be an Aqua Tail Crunch variant. Crunch is going to be resisted, right, because of our Dark Fighting typing. But these Aqua Tails will add up, so I need to get rid of this Drapion sooner rather than later. And this is going to be a unique situation where I can commit to the full farm down with only having to give up one shield, because I want all of that energy on the back end for the Trevenant. Now they decide instead to come in with Bastiodon, which I thought was an interesting call. I mean, granted, I think they might be able to, they will be able to take us down in time, but I'm just going to do as much damage as I can with counter and power-up punch. And this is a situation where maybe I can go for foul play next, but I thought, you know what, maybe I'm not going to make it. So I decided to go for 3 power-up punches instead. And just look at that. 3 power-up punches and a couple counters, down 75%. You love to see it. Nidoqueen is going to go ahead and come in to soak this damage. We still have a Walrein with Icicle Spear and Powder Snow in the back for the Trevenant. We have the nice bulk here on Nidoqueen. They decide to swap in, so I'm going to go ahead and go for Poison Fangs, and this is going to be a good game, very well played. I hope. Because now I decide to stay in. And I think this was a critical mistake of mine. Is I decided to stay in and let the Seed Bomb go through, thinking that, you know what, I can just Powder Snow down. This is going to be perfectly fine. I'll go ahead and shield. No worries. Bastiodon was at, like, he was in the red. It's gonna be okay. He was not in the red. He was still in the yellow. So this is now a miscall by me, and I go for Icicle Spear for the shield bait, and they no-shield it! Could have gotten away with the free Earthquake right there, but now I'm desperately just trying to Powder Snow down a Bastiodon, and they survive! With 1 HP and a Dream. That was my game to win, and I just threw it away, but hey, it happens sometime. Look at that Bastiodon. He's like, I am the shield. I got 2 shields, and I survived with 1 HP and a Dream. Jeez, alright. Moving to the next one, we got a Shadow Alolan Ninetales here on the lead. Pretty positive matchup for us. They swap into Umbreon, so we're going to bring in that Scrafty right away. Now, we'll have to see what they have in the back, but ultimately, Scrafty, what you want to do in this situation is just Power-Up Punch and full farm down. Your Foul Play on the back end is going to do a lot of resisted damage to the Alolan Ninetales, so you want to have that as much energy loaded as possible, and you also want to have as low health as possible, because you don't want the Alolan Ninetales to get a lot of energy from you, right? The more health Scrafty has after this mid-game matchup, the more energy that Nidoqueen, or I keep wanting to say Nidoqueen, the Alolan Ninetales can get against the Nidoqueen matchup. Remember, it does have access to Weather Ball, the Ice Weather Ball, so it will do super effective damage. Now, we're going to see the Ninetales come back in. I'm going to go ahead and go for this Foul Play, which does do resisted damage, but a good amount, as you guys can see right there. And my opponent just decided not to attack. And I'm like, maybe they lagged out. Maybe they're trying to, like, let me get them low. So, switch clock is already back up. I don't know why they're trying to stall. So, I'm just going to wait here for a second. Maybe they'll return. And I'm just going to tap the screen. Are you there? Hello? Tap again. No answer by my opponent. Maybe they did lag out. Okay, let's just get the game over with. They bring in the Medicham and surrender. Okay, so I don't know what happened there, but good game. All right, moving into the next one. We have Nidoqueen versus Trevenant once again. So let's see if we can redeem ourselves right here in this matchup, as we can do a lot of neutral damage with Poison Fang and Poison Jab. So we're just going to go ahead and go for it. There's no need to try to build up to a Stone Edge or an Earth Power, just because you need to get that raw neutral damage, right, with your fast move and charge move. So we're going to go ahead and let this go through. It is going to be Shadow Ball, which hurts, and I got to swap now into Walrein. Delayed swap right there on mine, and that was a bad call, but ultimately I still got the Powder Snow down thanks to the Poison Fang debuff. Now, let's see what decides to come in. It is going to be... It's going to be an Abomasnow, a Shadow Abomasnow at that. So that means they must be very weak in the back to Walrein. So I'm going to want to look to keep it alive right here, as I'm fearful that it could be a flyer. Maybe a flyer water. So maybe something like Pelipper. Just because you think about it, there's double grass here. So they desperately need fire coverage. And they also need some kind of pseudo fighting coverage. So my thought is that there might be maybe an Altaria or a Pelipper in the back is what I'm reading right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just commit the shields. The Abomasnow is low enough where I can farm down. We do stop the Energy Ball, and we'll see what that final Pokemon is. It's actually a Galarian Stunfisk. So they do have the fire coverage right there with the Rock-type moves. But Earthquake gets shielded. We're going to go ahead and swap into Scrafty. And that is going to be a good game, as we can easily go for Foul Play here for neutral damage. They won't be able to get to 2 Earthquakes in time, which just goes to show how bulky Scrafty is as a fighter. In this meta, obviously, it's not bulky against Charmers or other fighting-type Pokemon, just because we take so much damage. But it does do a really nice job of handling all the steals, like Bastion, Registeel, and Galarian Stunfisk, like we have shown today. So they get to the Rock Slide, which is resisted, and we just counter it down. Abomasnow is in the back, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Power-Up Punch to close this game out. But this is what's really nice about Scrafty, is if backlines are weak to fighting-type moves, you can really punch through it there with the combination of Counter and Power-Up Punch. All right, we got Nidoqueen now versus Umbreon here on the lead. I'm fearful that there might be double charm in the back, so we'll have to play to that. And I'm also fearful that there might be a Psychic, but I'm going to risk it and look to no-shield the first charge move. They did build up enough for a Psychic, so I'm going to go ahead and let this go, and it was just a foul play. So I'm thinking, okay, you know what, maybe they don't have Psychic. I'll go for an Earth Power here. I feel like this might be an incorrect call looking back on it. I probably should go for the Poison Fang, just because Earth Power doesn't do that much damage, and I'm looking to swap out anyways. So maybe retaining some of that energy and applying a debuff might be the better situation. Sure enough, they had the Psychic, as we saw right there, and we do see a swap in with Clefable. So there is one Fairy-type Pokemon. It's not a Charmer, but it is a Fairy. So we'll have to see if there is 2. And I'm guessing my gut is telling me there is 2, so I want switch advantage right now. So I'm going to go ahead and commit all of my shields to this mid-game matchup, just because we can outpace right here. And they're also going for Moonblast, which I thought was interesting. I believe they do have access to Meteor Mash, or the Fable does have access to Meteor Mash. I don't know if this battler has it unlocked, right? There's no way for us to tell. But we're going to go ahead and double shield, and they did go for double Moonblast, which is perfectly fine by me. I can now go for Icicle Spears. Now, had they gone for Meteor Mash first, I don't think I could commit 2 shields in this mid-game matchup, because I feel like they would outpace me there. But now we see the Umbreon come back in. So we're going to go ahead and just go for another Icicle Spear. They still have 1 shield remaining, and they decide to swap out into Jellicent, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the Scrafty onto the field. This is a really cool position where, even though this Jellicent has access to Surf, which is going to do neutral damage, the fast moves don't do anything to us, and we can safely go for double foul play right here. A lose con for me and a win con for my opponent is if I go for a Power-Up Punch first and they no-shield it. So instead, I'm just going straight foul plays, just to put pressure on those shields or land it like we did right there, which now really eases up the potential for us to win this game still with Nidoqueen and Walrein. So I'm going to go ahead and go for another foul play. Again, force that final shield, give us the confirmed win con, and we do get the final shield. They're going to have to throw energy in order to take us down, but we still have a good amount of energy on our Nidoqueen, and we also have our Walrein in the back. So we're going to come in with that Nidoqueen and look to go for the Poison Fang right away. It is resisted because of the Ghost typing there on Jellicent, but it should be enough damage, especially with the update to this season where it got a little bump in damage, and sure enough it was. So we're going to go ahead and try to Poison Fang, or Poison Jab down, I should say, but the Umbreon does get to the Psychic in time. This is fine. This is going to be dumping all of their energy, and Walrein now can get to Icicle Spear here to close this game out. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. A nice back and forth right there from my opponent. So it wasn't a double Charmer team or a double Fairy team, but they did have double Anti-Fighters, but thankfully Scrafty has that added Dark typing, where if there's Ghosts on the roster, like a Trevenant, or a Jellicent here, it can do very well with foul play. But overall, this team was a lot of fun. I think Nidoqueen and Walrein are still very good in the Great League meta. Yes, the nerf seasons back, like a year ago, was a nerf to the energy gain, or the energy cost. It costs more to use those moves, but now we have an increase in damage, so it kind of balances things out, but you just can't be as spammy. But overall, I think they're still very solid. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.